Hi guys, I hope you are all keeping well. Pavi is back with another video. There doesn't seem to be many days at the moment where tennis isn't involved in some sort of controversy or isn't being influenced by the establishment. And I think quite a few people like me were horrified to see Serena Williams, a 23-time Grand Slam champion, number one for so many years, arguably one of the greatest tennis players to ever play the sport, was at the weekend doing a promotion of GLP-1's weight loss jab at the Super Bowl. Yes, you have heard that correctly. One of the most elite athletes promoting a relatively new fast-tracked weight loss drug to millions across the world. Obviously, Super Bowl is known as being one of the biggest places to get promotional material and marketing out, and it's something that Big Pharma always want to cotton onto and try and get that prime slot during the Super Bowl. They did that, and not only did that, they got Serena Williams to promote Row, which is a weight loss management program, which includes weight loss jabs and I think even weight loss gels and all sorts, and got Serena Williams to promote this. Now, I know a lot of my viewers are big Serena Williams fans, and there was a lot of it kind of polarized a lot of the tennis Twitter world, because there's some people out there that will simply not criticize Serena Williams for doing anything because she is their hero, she is their inspiration, and I can maybe understand that. But there are some people where things that happen in the world bypass who our favorites are. Now, Serena Williams, for me, wasn't one of my favorite tennis players when she was playing, but I held her in utmost respect, almost to the fact that I got my daughter to watch the Williams sisters movie just to try and inspire her. And a lot of the times, my 7-year-old daughter who watched the program and is trying to get into tennis, she would often ask, how did Serena and Venus both get so good? How did Serena win all those titles? And my response always to her was, she worked hard, she ate well, she slept well, she recovered well, she trained very hard, she ate healthily, she put her body to the limit in a natural way, she worked in the gym, she ran, she did all the right things and made so many sacrifices as an athlete to make sure she got to the very pinnacle of the sport. Now, this weekend for me changed all of that. It changed all of that. Now, before someone will say, well, everyone's on it, and what's your issue with that? Serena Williams is an elite athlete. So for most of her life, she has made sacrifices to her body to get in tip-top shape. To be a tennis player, you have to be supremely fit. It is one of the most difficult physical sports, professional sports, there is in the entire world. So Serena Williams was extremely fit. Okay, now we know that since she's retired, she's had a few health issues. She's obviously become a mum, and all those changes make impacts to your bodies. Okay, I totally understand that. Now, if Serena Williams, for me, felt that she needed to take this weight loss jab, which I think it's insanity anyway. But if she really felt the need to do it, she could have done that privately. Okay, she could have done that privately. She doesn't need the money. She was married to a billionaire. She has made millions in the sport on her own merit. She didn't need to then promote the company whose husband is an investor of. So if you think of all the conflicts of interest here, she's promoting Roe, where her husband is an investor of that company. He's also a board member of that company. And according to their website, Serena Williams is now a paid partner of that company. So she would have been paid handsomely for doing that advert. So that for me just astounds me. If you think that product works good for you, fine. But you really need to promote it to the entire world. The Super Bowl is watched globally, not just in the US. It's, for me, it was like, wow, this is completely ruined her legacy. She is now telling kids, essentially, kids, vulnerable people, all sorts of people, anyone, families are watching Super Bowl, to, instead of eat healthily, work hard, go to the gym, go swimming, do yoga, do Pilates, all the things that we know are naturally good for us, you can take a shortcut and you can take this weight loss job. Now let's talk about GLPs, because they have come onto the market very, very quickly in 2022. Now that year is very, very important, because in 2021, Big Pharma tried to roll out the COVID vaccines, and they did very, very successfully, to huge numbers. But in 2022, 2023, when people thought that actually our natural immunity is actually working better and there was a number of side effects and even fatalities, those numbers started to drop off. So then Big Pharma are thinking, well, we made a huge profit from COVID vaccines. What's going to be our next big thing that we want to push on? And lo and behold, these weight loss jabs appear on the market. And I am absolutely mortified to know that in the last 4 years, these are now increasing rapidly. So you've got thousands, millions of people are now taking these weight loss drugs in America and also in the UK, almost like anyone would just have a cup of tea, or it seems they're just injecting or ingesting this product into their bodies, which in essence stops them from feeling hungry. So yeah, you heard that correctly. It blocks something in your mind to prevent you from feeling hungry. And here's the other added thing that the Big Pharma love. You have to take these injections for life if you want to continue to lose weight. So it's not just a one-off and then your weight comes off. If you stop taking this product, your weight comes back on. So in essence, you could be jabbing and taking these products for the rest of your life, which is amazing news for Big Pharma, because these things are not cheap. So much so that there is now a supply issue with a lot of the chemical, a lot of the ingredients that go into this product, because so many people are getting on there. There is a supply issue, but the demand is huge, which means the price of these have gone up as well. So for all those people saying Serena Williams is doing this because, obesity is the number one killer in the States, and there's so many African Americans that are obese and that this would benefit them, do they ever think about the fact that this is not cheap? You can have a look at the website. This is expensive. So you're not only putting people into financial difficulties, there's going to be people out there that this product doesn't suit. Now, you can go onto Google, Daily Mail, any kind of Daily Mail in the last few days have said there's numerous side effects that are now being reported with these weight loss injections. And it's just common sense. When God made us, he made us to as a body, to eat healthily, to exercise. He didn't make us for someone to give us a drug to stop us feeling hungry. This is just absolute insanity. And for a professional athlete like Serena Williams to promote this, knowing that there are mounting side effects, some of those side effects even include getting cancers and fatalities. That's how bad this is. Okay, so this isn't just someone promoting something and saying, yeah, you can try it. This is relatively new product that has been introduced by Big Pharma. And let's get this right as well. It was introduced initially for people that were grossly overweight or had really, really bad diabetes that they couldn't control. So it was almost like the last case scenario. These people, they were targeted at people that were that obese that couldn't even get out of bed, and they were an imminent threat of fatality from a heart attack or stroke because they were so big. So this is what they were initially bought for. But what's happening now is that it is easy to get this product. So I asked a friend of mine from the US to say, I want to do a little bit more of due diligence here. How hard or easy is it to get this product? They went onto a website and they said they went to 5 different websites, and it was a very, very straightforward process. They said it was a case of asking a medical health questionnaire, sending a couple of pictures, and they were able to get a prescription for this product. So they didn't even have to speak to a healthcare professional. They didn't even have to see a medical healthcare professional. That's how easy it is. Now, I've read, there's also in the market now, there's loads of unregulated companies that are going on that are trying to mimic this drug by using compounds of some of the ingredients, but not all of the ingredients. So it's opened up almost like an unregulated market with people are going on there. Now, in case some of you have not seen the news or don't have been hibernating for the last 4 or 5 years, there's been a number of people that are dying suddenly in the last few years. There's been a number of people, I'm sure all of you, all of my viewers will have friends, neighbors, colleagues, someone that they will know that have died suddenly at a relatively young age, or have developed a cancer, a really bad cancer, at a very, very young age, and don't manage to fight through that. Now, for me, and people may call me a conspiracy theorist, but I have got an idea that the establishment have got together with the likes of Big Pharma a few years ago and have said that our biggest concern is overpopulation of the world. And if we don't get on top of that, then the world isn't going to function. Okay, so they might have a plausible concern there. But are they in a position to act as God and decide that they can put out things into the market which may cause side effects, and they're not that bothered because they probably think, well, if these people don't make it, then at least it reduces the possibility of the world being overpopulated. And people might say me that I'm a conspiracist, but there's mounting evidence going on here that there's sinister things that are going in play in the world at the moment. All the stuff that's coming out from the Epstein file will tell you that we live in a really messed up society at the moment. Now, let's talk about society as well and get back to these GLP-1s. So instead of promoting, you would have thought Serena Williams could have been promoting healthy eating. Mike Tyson, bless him, is promoting the fact to stop eating processed foods, eat proper food, eat healthily again. He's promoting that. Serena Williams could have promoted yoga, Pilates, eat healthily, get off the computer for kids, get out, get some sunshine, get some exercise, do things in the right ways, don't take a shortcut. And how good of a message would that have come from someone as inspiring as Serena Williams to say to kids, to anyone who was influenced by her, and she influences millions, she's a role model, to say, actually, we're going to listen to Serena Williams. We're going to go for a run. We're going to join the gym. We're going to go for a swim. We're going to spend more time outdoors. We're going to spend less time on our phones and tablets and iPads. We're going to go out and try and be healthy and try and eat healthily. The whole concept that she is now advocating for shortcuts is the big problem that we've got in society now. And this is not going to end well because this is not natural. I don't have any problems for people taking these GLPs if they really need it, if they're really, really obese, if they're really, really poorly, and this could be their last chance of survival. Absolutely no issue with that. But what I'm reading now is that everyday common people, youngsters, are now using this injection from a young age. And what will that mean? They will mean that essentially they will lose all of this weight. 20% in the first year, as I've read, you would lose 20% of your weight. But they don't talk about the muscle mass that you lose as well. They don't talk the fact that you've got to take these drugs constantly for the rest of your lives. And it also gives you that mindset that this people, that they can carry on being what they want. They can carry on being idle. They can carry on eating what they want because they've got this drug, and that gives them all the benefits that they need. So there's so much things wrong with this. I mean, going back to Serena Williams again, now I've read up on her case. She didn't even use Roe for her weight loss. Apparently lost 36 pounds in a year. But she used a different product. But she's come onto Roe to say, actually, now I'm going on to Roe. I'm going to use this. So, the whole morals around this is just so wrong. And I don't care what people say because, as I said, I've got a small platform, but I will use that platform to hopefully make some sense into people, because I think there's going to be people that will look at Serena Williams and say, if it's good enough for her, it's good enough for me. Look how amazing she looks. I want to be that person. And lo and behold, who in tennis supports Serena Williams? Of course, Andy Roddick perks up. Mr. Establishment himself. He then goes on, and I'm glad that we've got this recorded, because I think this is going to fall back on the likes of Serena Williams and Andy Roddick in a few years when people start struggling with this product. He actually said he has no issue with a tennis player using this product. You heard that correct? Elite athlete. He has no issues with them. He was like, oh, it's a good idea. They could lose 20 pounds. They're less likely to get injury. So he doesn't even talk about the side effects. He doesn't even talk about how immoral it is for an elite athlete to look at using a drug to lose weight. If you're an elite athlete and you can't lose that weight, then you're not an elite athlete. Then you shouldn't be an athlete. Okay? Now, Andy Roddick, I don't know if he's had instructions from above, but he is a very, very important part of the tennis establishment. And I'll tell you why. He is confident. He is cocky. He's got his facts. He delivers things very, very well. So he influences a lot of people. And a lot of people will look at him and go, yeah, actually, I don't really think what Pav's talking is, he's talking a load of bollocks. But Andy Roddick, he comes across so confident, so cocky, and so, he knows everyone. He can put everyone down. He's a great person. He's a great person for the establishment, because there's a lot of naive and brainwashed that will believe what he says. So the fact that he's now promoting it is unbelievable. But let me tell you this, and I'm not going to name any names, but there's some prominent people in tennis that have contacted me, and they said they are absolutely mortified, not only with Serena, but also with Andy Roddick pushing this. So there's going to be divisions in the tennis establishment, because a lot of these people may be colleagues of Andy Roddick. There might be people that know Serena well, and they are absolutely mortified. And a lot of them are afraid to say anything publicly, because they know if they do, they will start losing job opportunities. And,